Hi, I'm Tommy with the Boys and Girls Club.
I'm Zach with the Boys and Girls Club. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you
Thank
both.
you for being here.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get started. What is a tech strategy manager?
So a tech strategy manager at Nielsen, where I work, is similar to a project manager. So I work across probably up to 30 different teams to determine timelines. I kind of keep people on track. I help manage schedules. So when we commit to something really big that I have all these teams that need to work together and hand off A to B, B to C, it's my job to make sure that handoff happens so that we get the clients what they need on the date we promise them.
Okay.
What is the single most important component on your resume?
I think on a resume, it's actually not as important so things can be taught. So for example, being a program manager, you can teach people how to be organized, how to work with groups, things like that. I think showing that you're more than just what your job is so much more important. So finding something like Think Big for Kids that you're really passionate about. You want to find people who are excited about things because then whatever it is, you can teach them. But if they have that passion, then they're so much easier to teach and you can do a lot more and you get a lot more opportunities that way.
What skills do you display in your career?
I am very compulsive. I am exceedingly organized, probably a little bit to a fault. But in my job, that's what makes me so good at it, is I write everything down and there's spreadsheets, and that is the entirety of my job, is making sure we stay organized. So something that probably in my day-to-day is a little bit of a detriment is actually what makes me so successful at my job.
Okay. What's some advice you would give kids our age?
I think it's find things you're passionate about. So when I went to college, I actually started with a degree in marine biology, and about a year before I graduated decided I hated it. And what I realized was that my entire life I had been working with nonprofits, and I'd been working in public relations, and I'd been working in advertising. And if I had just taken the time to look back at what I had been doing since I was 8 years old, I probably wouldn't have wasted 4 years pursuing a degree that I wasn't passionate about. And so, it's that if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life. But it really is true. So it's finding what you really love and how do you translate that into a job instead of like, what's going to make me the money. Find what's going to make you happy at the end of the day.
Why did you choose your career?
I chose my career. I kind of stumbled into my career, but I love people and I love working with people, and so my degrees are in public relations and advertising. So it's a lot of I worked as the philanthropy chair for my sorority, which is essentially the nonprofit chair. So we actually worked with child abuse prevention, and that was something that I just didn't know was a career path that I could actually take. And so I got a degree in public relations, specifically on nonprofits. And it was just because that was what I loved. And I just needed that person to tell me, oh, that is a job, and here's the job, and here's how you go do it. So I do get to do things a little bit with nonprofits in my day-to-day at my work because it's something that I love so much. The CTO actually created a position where I get to be the tech strategy manager, but I get to spend a fourth of my time specifically going out and finding nonprofits for us to work with.
What are some of the biggest responsibilities in this position?
We call it herding cats, which is not an easy thing to do. So essentially, I just need to make sure people do what they say they're going to do on the time they say they're going to do it, because when I'm working with 30 teams, that is handoff to handoff to handoff. If one is off, everyone is off. And of course, no one is ever working on one thing at one time. So it has huge implications. So just making sure people do what they need to do when they say they're going to do it.
What are some of your goals for the next 5 years?
I hate this question. I don't know. So I always say to this question, I just want to be happy. I've gotten very lucky that at my job I've gotten a lot of opportunities that I would have never even thought of. I had someone who looked at me and said, oh, you're very compulsive. Why don't you take this position? So whatever it is that I'm doing, I've never mapped out a path for myself. I really didn't. And I've gotten very lucky that I'm around people who believe in me and help me down this path. So whatever it is, I just want to be happy with what it is.
How do you believe your industry is growing?
So I work in technology, and it's amazing to me to see that I go to schools and there's now 8-year-olds who are learning to code. And it's something that I think if I don't learn how to do some of this stuff, I'm gonna become obsolete. It's just something that, it's gonna be an English class. And right, I'm sure you guys are both, computer science, and I'm sure they're starting to include that in high school and everything. And yeah, it really is. It's just gonna be another language people learn.
What do you like most about Think Big for Kids?
What I love, and it's one of the reasons that I actually admire Tony so much, my mom was actually a migrant worker, and so she lived in a single house with 12 people and moved all over the country wherever she could get money, and ended up going to college, graduating with honors, had a really successful career. And so I love that Tony found a way to translate that and to explain to other people that it is entirely possible. And Tony is such a success story. But even my mom, who, I had a very comfortable life growing up. And so I love seeing how he was able to turn that and how he was able to teach people with what he went through how to, overcome and use himself as a really positive example. And so how he was able to take what could have been a negative and make it such a positive.
If you had one thing to eat for the next year, what would it be?
So I'm originally from Michigan, and there is a pizza parlor called Buddy's Pizza. If you ever go to Michigan, it's like the best pizza in all of Michigan. And they make this antipasto salad that is my favorite thing in the world. When I go up there, I buy their salad dressing in bulk and drive it all the way back down with me. That's it. It would be the antipasto salad from Buddy's.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.